My wife and I are married for 27 years, just like Bill and Melinda Gates. Now, in spite of all the challenges that life throws at us, my wife and I, we are happier than we've ever been. We're closer than we've ever been, and God is still the foundation of our marriage. He is still the center of what we do in our relationship and in our marriage. We are making our marriage work, while Bill and Melinda Gates, they're quitting their marriage. They want to solve some of the world's biggest problems. And I commend them for that. I do agree with most of what they do. Not all, but most of it. But what is interesting to me that you can do all that. You can try to solve some of the most complex problems in our society, in our world. But you can't solve the problems that's going on in your own marriage. Now, in this video, I want to share with you some of the important lessons singles and married couples can learn from the Bill and the Melinda Gates divorce announcement. Let's have this conversation. Welcome back to our channel. I am Dorian, and this is Not Easily Broken. The purpose of this channel is to transform your relationship through bringing you content that is biblically sound, relevant, pertinent, in helping you to build a successful marriage and relationship. If this is the kind of content that you like, then by all means consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Now let's get right into it. Now, since the story broke, my DM and our inbox is flooded with questions from a lot of our followers on Instagram. We have over 26,000 followers on Instagram, and so we get a lot of information, people asking questions about it. Now, I was not going to respond publicly. However, because of the influence, the impact, and the reach that this couple has on society, all over the world, I want to give some perspective on this divorce situation, because listen, this divorce is going to have a global ramification and impact, regardless of the fact that they say that they're going to still work together in their Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We do know that things not always work that way. All right. We all know that when a divorce happens, it changes everything. OK, so let's just put that out there. Now, Bill and Melinda Gates, they post a statement on their verified Twitter account stating that after a great deal of thoughts and a lot of work on their marriage, on their relationship, they have made a decision to end the marriage. Now, one of the statements that kind of really got my attention, they said, and I quote, "We no longer believe that we can grow together as a couple in this next phase of our lives." That part. But we no longer believe that we can grow together as a couple. That part is the most important part of a marriage, growing together. No one can have a successful marriage without growing as an individual and growing together as a couple. No one. When you love someone, you must commit to loving them in the good times and in the bad. You learn to figure things out. Bill Gates and I were married the same year. He got married on January 1st, 1994. My wife and I, we got married on February 5th, 1994. That's like the only thing Bill Gates and I have in common. But guys, 27 years of marriage is a long time. And in an era and in a time, in a culture where, people change their spouse like they do a lease car, a lease truck. I want to salute all of you guys out there that are making marriage and making love work. I salute you. I venerate you. May God bless you. Keep doing what you're doing. May God always bless your marriage. But the truth is, we don't know what's been going on or what is happening in Bill and Melinda Gates' home in Washington. They called their home Zanado 2.0, right? It is valued at $130 million. It has 66,000 square feet, and it has a 23-car garage. Melinda Gates also said this, that their marriage was irretrievably broken. To claim that a marriage is irretrievably broken means that nothing can be done to fix that relationship. Can we honestly say that nothing can be done to fix a broken marriage? Now, this is my honest opinion, guys. I believe that all marriage can be salvaged if both spouses are willing to work on it. I don't tolerate cheating or abusive relationship. However, I have seen couples, and my wife and I, we have worked with couples that have been through some very bad place, difficult situations in their relationship, and they end up having a better marriage. Sometimes legal separation is necessary until the other spouse can get their act together. Here are some things that I do believe that Bill and Melinda Gates should really take in consideration. Bill and Melinda Gates should know this. Money cannot buy happiness. Bill and Melinda Gates are two of the richest people in the world, and all the money that they have cannot buy them a happy marriage. Money can be used to obtain material things and physical possession, and you can use it to do some good in society, and you can use it to do bad. But the very important emotion, happiness, cannot be bought by it. There is no shop in the entire world that sells happiness. No matter how rich you are, it has nothing to do with how happy you are. Wealth and happiness are two different things, and they must not be linked together. You can be wealthy and not happy, and you can be poor, you can be broke, and you can be happy. We must be in the right environment to experience happiness, and that environment starts with you. How are you doing? How are you doing mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, psychologically? Until you are right as a holistic person, it is hard to create space where your spouse can feel and enjoy happiness. This should be a no-brainer. You must always put your spouse first. No one or nothing should come before your spouse. The Bible tells us to leave and cleave to each other. If you are successful in business or ministry and you are not successful in your marriage, in my honest opinion, you're not a success. God will never give you anything that will cost you your marriage or cost you your family. A successful marriage has balance. It's about balance. Sometimes, of course, you have to give and take in a relationship, in a marriage. Sometimes you have to give up your win so that the marriage can win. Sometimes you have to kind of step back and look at your spouse. Maybe you have to support their vision, their goals for the greater good of the marriage. Sometimes you have to, put yourself last so that the marriage can be first, so that your goals and your vision can be first. That's what marriage is really about, making sacrifice for the greater good of the relationship. And you find that happen in relationships and in marriage all the time. Two people working together, building a marriage, and decided that, hey, listen, for the greater good of the marriage, this is what we need to do. But you do it together. However, you should never put your spouse last. You should never make your spouse feel like they are second place in your life. Here's another thing that Bill and Melinda Gates should know, and every couple should know this. Marriage takes work. It doesn't matter how much in love you think you are. Marriage will pull on you. Marriage will require you roll up your sleeve and go to work. A successful marriage is not by accident. It is a planned event. A successful marriage is not built in a day. It is built daily. Marriage is not a sprint. It is a marathon. Marriage is not a destination. It is a journey. And on this journey called marriage, there are going to be some bumps in the road. But marriage takes commitment. It takes knowledge, dedication, sacrifice, and it requires work. And it's a work that you must be willing and decide to do every day for the rest of your life. That's what you sign up for. Work on your problems first. Before you can solve everybody's problems, Bill and Melinda Gates wants to solve the problems in the world. And I commend them for it, as I said. But they might have forgotten that their problem need their attention also, that they have to put their problem and their issue at the forefront. You cannot pledge to make the world a better place and you're not making your spouse better. This couple gave away over $53.8 billion of their own personal money. That's great. But the question is, you can't solve your own problems in your marriage? I just can't process that. When I hear people say that, oh, you know what, we cannot work together, we cannot live together anymore, it's just most of the time it is for selfish reasons. Bill and Melinda Gates should have learned that you have to reset your marriage. My wife and I, we've been married for 27 years, and every anniversary from the 5th year in our marriage, we decide to reset our marriage every year. We reflect on where we have been, what we have been through for that year. And we sit down and we talk about it. We make assessment. We look at where we are. Look at what we have done. Look at what we could have done better. And we've made a pledge for the new year that we're going to work on those things. And for the 27 years of marriage, we realize the fifth year in our marriage that we have to take our marriage into our own hands. We have to give it everything that we have got. And in order for your marriage to work, you have to do the same thing too. It takes two people to make a marriage work. The Bible said that the two shall become one flesh. The two becoming one. In Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 9, it tells us that two are better than one because they have a more satisfying return on their labor, or they have a more satisfying return on their investment. Also in Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 12, it talks about that, and though one can overpower him who is alone, two can resist him. A cord of three strands is not easily broken. See, that's where we get this ministry. That's where we get this name from, not with a K-N-O-T. And a matter of fact, I have a card here to show you. Both of these cards, the wife and the husband coming together as one, interwoven together with God. The third strand is God. It is what keeps the relationship, keeps the marriage together. And let me say this, guys, that listen, marriage is not easy. It takes two people to build a successful marriage. One person cannot build a successful relationship at all. Of course, one person can lean a little bit more in the marriage. We've seen it happens all the time in relationship where one spouse is holding on to it for dear life. One wants to let go and the other one says, no, I'm not letting go. I'm holding on. I'm going to fight through this. I'm going to get through this. Let us do this together. One just decided that I'm going to give it a little bit more. But it takes two people to do it right. And I know sometimes as Christians, we think that one spouse can do it. No, that's not how marriage was meant to be. God created marriage for two people to come together as one. You have to keep creating love. Love is something that you create daily. You should never get so complacent or so disconnected from your spouse, from your marriage, that you don't take the time to see the need to work on your spouse, to work on yourself, to work on your marriage. You love where you give. If you love where you give, then it means that you are investing and creating love. You're taking care of love. Love is not a feeling. It's about our action. It's about our maturity. It is about our responsibility. Love is about our sacrifice. We must put the right action into it in order for us to have the feelings, the emotional connection with it. And this is the biggest challenge in marriages today. The focus is not on serving your spouse. The focus is on you. And when you put the focus on yourself and not on your spouse, you are selfish. Marriage is not going to work in that environment. Because marriage is more about your spouse than it is about you. Marriage is about what you give rather than what you get from it. That is the reason why you love where you give, not where you get. When you invest in a place, in a thing, you're going to admire it. You're going to take care of it. It's going to be attractive to you because your investment is there. When you buy a car versus getting a car, which one do you treat better? The car that you get or the car that you purchase? Marriage is not a transaction. In today's society, we see everything as a set of transactions. And the truth be told, consumerism allows us to think that if I do that for you, if I do this for you, then what do I get in return for doing it? And if I do it for you and you don't give it back to me in return, then I'm going to simply go somewhere and get it. That's the idea of a lot of people. And a lot of people look at marriage this way as well. That's not how it's supposed to be. The Bible tells us in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 that love is kind. Love does not keep score. Love is about commitment. My commitment to stay in my marriage is not based on my wife making me feel good. It's not based on how my wife make me feel. My marriage is built on a solid foundation, which is Christ. It can hold up against anything that comes against it. Good or bad marriage can work because of this foundation, which is Christ Jesus. Bill and Melinda Gates, they already know. They have a lot of friends that have gone through divorce. They know that divorce is very painful. but now they're going to experience it themselves. It doesn't matter how rich or how poor you are. Divorce is painful. Divorce is the ripping and the tearing apart of two lives that was bonded together, fused together as one. And when something is fused together, you can't tell them apart. There is no beginning and there is no ending. It's like this ring right here. It's like my wedding band. There's no beginning, there's no ending. It is fused together. It becomes one. When two chemicals is fused together, you cannot separate one without destroying the other. When two people get married, you can't separate one from the other. The two are now one. The two become one flesh. This is why divorce is so painful, because divorce is the death of a marriage. It is the tearing and the ripping of something that was meant to be together forever. Marriage is also under attack. Marriage is under attack because of what it represents. God loves marriage. He honors marriage. Marriage looks like God. And the devil hates marriage because marriage is a threat to him. Everything that God does, he did it through a marriage. He did it through a family. From Adam and Eve's first marriage to Abraham and Sarah, who became the father of many nations, which every nation came through them. The birth of Christ Jesus. See, marriage is a reflection of God's love for man and Christ's love for the church. That's why God tells the husband to love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. Every woman wants a man who will love her and honor her. Every man wants a wife who will respect and honor him. That's what marriage is about. And guys, these are the things that I want to cover in this video. Keep building your marriage. If you know that you have a marriage that is worth fighting for, keep fighting for it. Marriage is good when you do it right, and it can be painful when you do it wrong. No one is perfect, but two imperfect people coming together in a marriage, in a perfect union, and willing to put God first, and willing to work on themselves, and willing to pay attention and serve and honor each other in the marriage, you can have a beautiful thing going. It's not always easy, but that's a part of life. And so guys, if you were blessed by this video, please give it a like, smash that like button, and please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Please leave your comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think about this Bill and Melinda Gates divorce situation going on. Thank you for watching, and we cannot wait to see you in the next one.